Hey everyone, I'm Kustom the Cross Stitching Runner and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in, and this particular episode is all about the stitching that I've been doing towards the end of November and now moving into the start of December, because today is the 3rd of December and I am due to start my third day of Christmas stitching, and I'm using this time to really get myself into the excitement and spirit of Christmas, because my goodness, I don't know about you, but this year, at least for me, has been one doozy of a year. So getting into the spirit and joy of Christmas, I am very much looking forward to, and I'm also hoping to be able to get into watching other people's floss tubes as well around their Vlogmas Christmas stitching and everything in between. So with that in mind, let's get into some of the stitching that I've been doing towards the end of November. Towards the end of November, I spent a lot of time on Dewdrop Daisy, and Dewdrop Daisy is a hot cross stitching design that is available for digital download or physical purchase off my Etsy store or the official hot cross stitching website. And this is based on a photo that I took a few years ago of a flower that is in my garden in Canberra, and it is a piece that has featured quite a lot over the last few years on this channel, and I am excited to say that I have completed 80.5% of the project. And what makes me chuckle a little bit with this piece is when I was working on it in November, I had done some calculations, and I had said to my boyfriend at the time, or he's still my boyfriend, but at the time of doing the calculations, that if I focused and did a minimum of 100 stitches per day on the project, that I would be able to complete the project in a minimum, not a minimum, in roughly 120 something days. I don't remember the exact number just now, but it gave me hope that it is achievable. And my boyfriend also looked at me and laughed a bit, going, knowing that I've said these sort of phrases quite a lot, that if I did this, then it would mean this project would be complete in X amount of time. It usually doesn't end up happening. So I still have the goal of completing Dewdrop Daisy. The next piece I have to share with you that saw a bit of attention in November is I Count My Lucky Stars. Again, this is another hot cross stitching design, and it's based on a phrase that I try to use on a regular basis as almost like a mantra for myself, where I am looking to appreciate everyone and everything in my life, and appreciating where I am in my life and what I've achieved so far, and knowing that there's still lots of positivity for the future as well, that there's still so many things to look forward to and get done and experience, and all those bits of fun, especially when the day hasn't always gone the way that I'd like. So with I Count My Lucky Stars, every day that you are in my life is a piece that I've been working on intermittently for a little while now. And this is it. Sorry, things are dropping on the floor on the chair near my feet. So I've finished stitching the quote, and this has been stitched on 28 count linen, using a variegated thread called Tequila Sunrise by the Karen collection. Karen spelled Caron, O-N by memory. And I think that it's come up really nicely. And you'll also see near the letter I at the start of the quote that I've got this variegated blue patch of stitching. This is part of the reason why I have paused my stitching on this project for a little while. So I'm just going to fold this up a little bit so I can provide you with just a little bit of a close-up of what's happening here. So to put into context, this is thread that I've had in my collection for a little while and I love it. It's this really beautiful silky feeling thread. It's a pretty thick kind of thread and it's not like stranded cotton where it has the ability to split itself into easy to use strands. So this is the brand called Wonderfeel Razzle. At the moment, I don't remember the actual name of this thread in terms of what sort of special name it's been given, like whether it's a blueberry or something like that. But it's this really beautiful thread. It feels really nice to use. And I'm not sure if this is going to show up very well, but this is just how one strand can look. And it does have the ability to almost be pulled apart. However, it could be just the way I'm trying to feather this out that I'm not happy with how it feathers out to try and get the strands untwisted. So it could be the fact that I'm still using the thread in the way that it needs to be, but perhaps I need to use it on something like Ada, whether it be the 14 to 18 count Ada, or perhaps use this as stitching a 1/2 or something like that, because on this piece I've been doing this as 10 stitch, and with the Tequila Sunrise thread it's just one strand thread and it is again beautiful to stitch on, and I'm just not happy with how this Wonderfeel Razzle Dazzle thread is going on the piece. So when I have the time and patience, I am potentially going to frog that bit of blue on the piece, and then again when I have the patience and energy I will go through my DMC stash and pick out some threads to start stitching the border of it, because I think with the actual border of this piece I think it just frames the quote just beautifully. So that's where my headspace is at, and I know that some people have downloaded this chart from the Hot Cross Stitching website, and if by chance any of you have made some kind of progress on the piece, I would love to see some pictures. If you can tag me in the icon on Instagram, I'm on Instagram as well, though I don't post as often as what I should on Instagram. But if you use like the hashtag hot cross stitching or a hashtag of I count my lucky stars or something similar to that, that will grab my attention. I would love to see some kind of progress, because this has been the aim of this particular chart, that yes, it's monochrome, but the aim of it has been for anyone and everyone to be able to use whatever threads that are in your stash, use whatever fabric is in your stash that you have been meaning to use for a long time and you've just not quite found that right pattern. And this could be one of those charts that could fit within the scope of what you're wanting to do. So that's my spruik for I Count My Lucky Stars, and I look forward to people sharing with me how they're going, because I'm definitely trying to share as much as I can on I Count My Lucky Stars as well. Now, I think I've potentially repeated myself a few times around our cat molecule stars, so let's move on to the next project that I've been working on. Midnight Glow surprised me in November by finally getting a page finish. I have been so close for what feels like ages to get a page finish done on Midnight Glow, but I got there, it got done, which is really cool and exciting because it means that I am just that little bit closer to getting it finished. And it means that I potentially have, based on what I'm looking at here, at least 2, maybe 3 more pages to go, and then it's done, which means potentially 3 more years, and then it's done based on my rate of progress with this piece. So this is where it's at, and it's cool. It's all good. So just a portion of the main has now been done, and I'm looking forward to getting the nose of the horse done. So it may be a case where I come over to the other side where we can already see a little bit of stitching has been done, and working over on this side and helping to get yet another page finished done. So that would be, again, really cool. I didn't keep count of how many stitches that I did or anything like that with Midnight Glow. I am stitching this on 14 count Ada using all of the called for colours. And yeah, Midnight Glow is a custom Krafts child design, and it's a piece that, even though it's been slow progress, it has been progress that I've enjoyed every step of the way, where it has that really comfortable mix of confetti and block colours. So it helps with that progress that I'm just wanting to see with the piece. I don't know when I'll next pick up Midnight Glow. I am thinking perhaps August at the earliest. That said, I know that my plans will be changing a bit because, say, from March next year through to September, October, I'll be doing the AFL stitching challenge, and I've got some ideas of how I'm going to make it interesting this time, changing it up just a little bit for myself, because I've really been enjoying using the Decision Maker app to help with informing me or prompting me. Prompting is probably the better word, of what projects I should be working on. So that will actually help with the segment to come with my December stitching. That said, the last piece that I have been putting a lot of time into before the start of December has been the Black Needle Society's Spring in Stars Hollow. I had really been hoping to get as much of Spring and Stars Hollow done as I could, hopefully to the point of actually getting it finished. Not quite happened. That said, I have gotten a lot of work done on the dragonfly in here, and that said, this is where I'm at, and brings over here. I'm really happy with how it's coming together. So I focused quite a lot on the flowers at the front and the very pale yellow that we see. Now, I also want to point out that there is a significant personalisation with the pink flowers for the garden of Spring and Stars Hollow. So when I had first started stitching the flowers of the dragonfly in, I'd used a pink that is the same pink that we see for Al's Pancake World container, and I think it was also before I had actually purchased the designated pink that I needed for the chart. And that's where I thought, okay, look, I'm going to get creative. I'm going to sub in another color and Hey, personalization. This entire chart is full of so many personalizations that there are times I'll get hung up on it. By the same token, it is what it is, and I love that it still has all of the elements in it that makes this chart absolutely awesome and amazing. And I'm really enjoying seeing this come to life, and I look forward to being able to share with you more of its progress as time goes on. That said, this particular project will be paused until February at the earliest because I've got some plans for what I want to do in January as well. My voice is going croaky all of a sudden. Something to do with coffee and how my body is choosing to respond to it at the moment. That said, let's get into some Christmas stitching. This headband, what can I say? It it makes me smile, it makes me happy, and the more I move, and especially if I move my head as part of me talking, these guys are going to move around a fair bit. So I hope that they're not too distracting. It's a headband I've had for a little while, and I'm looking forward to this making more of an appearance as part of the Christmas experience and Christmas stitching. So, what I've been doing, similar to, was it September? No, October. The October spooky stitching. So, in October, for most of that month, did spooky stitching, and I used the random picker app. I have an Android phone, so I guess this is a little bit of what the wheel looks like. It's a random picker, and I've put together a Christmas summer stitching wheel, and these are the projects that I have selected, and I haven't actually spun the wheel for today yet. Today being the 3rd of December. That said, I just want to share with you the first two projects that I've started stitching, and the really cool thing is that they are new starts. So they are new starts out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas magazine from 2018. And this particular magazine featured heavily over the last couple of years for this channel because I was working on a project called 12 Days of Christmas, and I think a few months ago now I was able to finish 12 Days of Christmas, and I was so happy and excited to get that piece done because it had been a project that I'd been working on for what felt like quite a few years, and it was annoying me for a little bit as well because of different reasons. That said, go back a few episodes or a few months and you'll actually see, I think the thumbnail for the chart, not the chart, the thumbnail for the episode of me actually finishing it, you'll actually see that I had it framed up and it's looking really cool. That said, I am now working on a couple of these. So these are really cute little cards, or however it is that I want to finish it. The two projects that I've started on is called Jingle All the Way, which is that red and white piece that you can see, and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, that is this bigger piece. Now, a few years ago, I have stitched Let It Snow and I think Jingle All the Way, and I did enjoy stitching those. I just needed a little reprieve from those. And what I've done this time is, because they are the type of pieces that are monochromatic, I really wanted to use some of these specialty threads that I have in my stash that I've bought because I just love the looks of those colours, and I just hadn't quite found either the right piece for it or be in the mood for stitching some of those charts, and I think now is a really good time for it. So on the first day of December, I spun the wheel and brought up Jingle All the Way. So this is a piece of 14 count Ada that I've had in my stash for a really long time. It's actually a bit of scrap fabric that I've had, and Jingle All the Way. That this is where I'm at so far, and what makes me smile with Jingle All the Way and the threads that I'm actually using for this piece is a dinky dye thread. Is what variegated thread that I'm using for this, and I'm just going to bring up some photos that I've taken just as help of showing the before and after. Oh, where are we? So it's like dinky dye threads. I've actually called it Janie's Christmas, and I don't know if this is going to show up right. Well, there we are. So that's the variegated thread that I'm using for Jingle All the Way, and without properly realizing and just doing a bit of a floss toss, it's like, no, that is just absolutely perfect, and I'm loving how it's coming together, and it'll be interesting to see if all of this actually fits on the fabric or not. I just eyeballed it a bit and thought, yeah, okay, this will do. And if by chance it doesn't quite fit, I'm sure that I can do some kind of personalization to get it to fit. So I look forward to sharing with you my progress on this. Now, with that in mind, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas came up on the wheel for the 2nd of December, and I did a little bit more of a floss toss and such for this. And the really cool thing with this is that this is my progress so far with the Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Now I'm stitching this on this really beautiful navy blue 18 count Ada, and it's a bit of scrap material from the project that I'm stitching called Fight Like a Girl. And the actual thread that I'm using for this is a really beautiful, subtle, variegated thread. And it's called Brindabella Threads. So this, hopefully I can get the camera to focus just a little bit. Okay, that's the best I can get it to do. It is this really, really beautiful, subtle, sort of lime green, yellow kind of colours. And I think it's going to turn out beautifully on this, especially with what we can see so far. I think it's just really beautiful complementary colours, and it's just looking really washed out at the moment, unfortunately. So I hope that as part of some of the progress pictures I can take and sharing my progress with you on this channel, I think it'll work out really well. Now, I haven't spun the wheel for the 3rd of December yet, so let's spin the wheel now and see what I'm going to work on. Okay, let's see. Very cool, Scottie Dog Sampler. Okay, Scottie Dog Sampler. This is another new start, and it is a sampler that is out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas. And let's see what it will look like. So this is where I'm sort of umming and ahhing as to whether I'll stitch the sampler as is charted, or if it will be just stitching the little dogs as individual dogs. I have to wait and see. I'm umming and ahhing. I just went past it. Okay, so Scottie Dog Sampler. So this is part of why I'm contemplating whether to stitch the dogs as we see them, because we also see the other page here that they've got the suggestion that I could stitch it as like just one of the individual dogs, and make a little card out of it. So the design is by Lucie Heaton, and I think these dogs are just really cute, and I'll most likely use a lot of the called for colours. The piece is recommending 14 count white Ada, and I think that might be one of the personalisations that I might do, that instead of stitching it on the 14 count Ada, that I'll perhaps stitch it on just whatever fabric I do have in my stash that could actually make it super cute. We'll wait and see. But I am looking forward to making a start on this Scottie dog sampler, and I hope to be able to share with you some more progress on it next time we catch up. So, as a bit of a wrap up for this episode, my plans or aims for this month is to do a lot more of this random picker app and helping it with keeping me motivated for the stitching, and getting some different projects on rotation, so that way I can keep things interesting for myself and hopefully for you as well. And especially with the way December is, it is the nutty season of everyone winding down and having their Christmas parties, and for students it's graduations from years 10, 12, high school, college, primary school, whatever other grades in between, and making the most of life. And here in Australia, enjoying the warmer months, the longer hours in the day, the daylight savings, and all that joys. And for us, it is very much traveling between here and Canberra and anywhere in between, and enjoying catching up with family and friends. So I'm very much looking forward to sharing again. I've said in the last little segment, sharing with you the progress of stitching that I'm doing, and having the theme of Christmas stitching and a little bit of summer stuff going in as well. And I also mentioned that I've got some plans for January as well. January in Australia, we celebrate, I guess, our national holiday called Australia Day. In America, it's probably similar to Independence Day, and I guess each other country's got their own special annual holiday that celebrates the uniqueness of that country and the awesomeness of that country, and reflecting on history and what hopefully could be improved upon to continue that country's journey of being a great place to live. So, with that in mind, here in Australia, my aim is to try and work on a lot of Australian themed projects, or projects that have been designed by Australian designers, and hopefully use some products that have been created, or what's the wording I'm looking for, designed by words, that are products of Australia. That's probably the better way I can put it. So using fabric that has been dyed by Australian dyes, or using floss that is Australian based. So cottage garden threads are one of the first names that come to mind for floss drops and those sorts of things, or not floss drops, but floss to stitch with. And even in this episode, I've talked a little bit about Brindabella threads and Dinky Dye threads, so they're both Australian as well. And if I'm understanding correctly, I'm hoping that Brindabella threads may even be Canberra based, but I need to do some more searching on that to be sure if that's true. And I know that in January, some of my designs will feature quite heavily in the month of January, and I'm hoping to be able to start on some other charts that are designed by other really awesome Australian designers. So fingers crossed, all goes well, and I know that I'll be using the Decision Maker app for deciding on which chart to start on, to work on, and everything in between. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of months and sharing with you just so many different things that are going on in my world of cross stitch. So, with that in mind, that is pretty much it for today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks' time. See you later.